Hello viewer, welcome to Chungu cha Jamii. I'm your host Eunice Mugo. Today on the show we are having a boy-child's conversation. We are helping men to navigate grief through strength and support. Send in your question, interact with us across all our social media networks. That's GBS TV Africa. Our SMS line is 21144. I have a guest with me who is going to help us to understand better how to help men navigate through grief in strength and with also support. Today we have James Kituzi, who is a life coach. I will allow him to introduce himself. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. Hello viewers, my name is James Kituzi, a life coach and personal and corporate development consultant with Badilika Hub. Yes.
Welcome to the show, Mr. James.
Thank you.
Today we are having you on the hot seat. We
Yeah.
said we want to hear men cry.
And I'm here to cry for
And in
all
that
the men.
matter, we want to hear you crying out loud.
I'm here for that and more. Yes.
To start with, the topic today, we are helping men to navigate through grief. So the other episode we talked about also the same thing, how to help men navigate through grief. We talked about a lot of things. We talked about the 5 stages of grieving and all that.
Yes.
And now we were just starting on how to navigate through grief.
Sure.
Now, what are the tools that we need, or rather, what are the tools men need when they are going through grief?
That's a very heavy question. Tools that they need to grieve. Maybe for the benefit of the viewer who's joining us in part 2, just a recap of part 1, like you pointed out, we talked about the stages of grief. We said the first stage is denial, where somebody is asking themselves, is it really happening? Is it really true that I'm going through this grief or this loss? Has it really happened? So they are questioning the reality or the existence of the grief or the loss. And then we moved on to stage 2, which is anger, which is usually a reaction of knowing that the inevitable has actually happened. And so you're trying to question why did it really happen and what could have been done differently to avoid it from happening, whether it's the death of a loved one, whether it's disease, whether it's job loss, whatever kind of loss or grief, what could have been done differently to change the situation. And then we moved to the third stage, which was bargaining. And when bargaining, we said this is a stage that, if not well guarded or not well watched, could actually lead to more loss than the loss you're trying to fight, where you're trying to seek higher redress in terms of why is it happening, what can be done to change it. If it's a disease, you're asking, is there a second opinion to this, or is this final? Is the doctor wrong? If it's a job loss, you're questioning the decision of the management to let you go. Why did they let you go? Can you speak to the board? Can you speak to a higher authority? So you start bargaining. And then the next stage, we talked about depression. Once you realize that there's actually nothing that can be done to salvage the situation, then a man can sink into depression. And depression, we said, expresses itself in various ways. There are those who will continue with being angry. There are those who isolate themselves. There are those who get into negative forms of letting out, like drinking, violence, and so on and so forth. There are those who become workaholics or bury themselves in work. Basically, they are seeking ways to escape the pain. And then finally, we talked about acceptance, which is the stage that we want everybody to be at. Anybody who has gone through grief, and especially men, to really accept the reality and find mechanisms and ways of coping. And so today we are discussing those tools. Now that we are trying to accept, what really can we do? What can we do differently? What can we change? How do we navigate through the pain and the loss that we've gone through? In the last episode, we said that men find it very difficult, first of all, to express their pain. They find it very difficult to accept verbally that they're actually suffering and they're in pain or they're in grief. And that is basically due to a number of reasons. So even before they get the tools, it's important to understand that where is the man coming from? in this pain? Where is he coming from? Why is he the way he is? Why is he violent? Why is he isolated? Why is he silent? Why is he all of a sudden drinking, and so on and so forth? Why is he angry and bitter? And not really just accepting and moving on, because that's what society expects. People tell you, you're a man, man up, accept, and move on. You can get through this, you're a man. So why is he at this point? And there are a number of reasons we can allude to that. Number one, it's due to social reasons, societal norms and expectations of what masculinity is. Boys and men generally are socialized to believe that it's weakness to cry. You're a weakling if you cry. You're a weakling if you show emotion. You're a weakling if you cry out in pain. Even from a tender age, mothers will tell their sons, don't cry like a girl. You are a boy, all right? So society expects you, first of all, to suppress emotion, and that is what is likened to being a man, that you can hold it together, even in the face of difficulty, even in the face of pain, which again is counterproductive. Because the same man we're expecting to hold it together is the same man who is going through these very natural feelings, just like a woman, the natural feeling of pain and loss. So in navigating, first of all, we need to identify why is the man the way he is, and what can we do differently, even as a society, even before the man mans up. What tools are we giving him as a boy to become the man who can actually stand strong and fight through grief and loss? It's important for parents especially to tell their children that it's okay to say you're not okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay to express pain. It's okay to say when you're hurting, because that is the first step towards, first of all, healing and also finding help. Because if you're not crying, then how do we know you're in pain? All right? And then as a man grows, he socialized into believing that for you to be a man, you have to be strong. And strength is measured by how well you can hold it together, how long you can keep pain, how long you can withstand pain. Through various cultural ceremonies, even through the initiation ceremonies, a man is tested through his ability to withstand pain. You're laughing, but it's the reality.
Let me cut you short because,
Yes.
okay, I think when I'm laughing, I'm just like relating to the situation or scenarios where I've been able to see men who like so used to these pains that
Yes.
you're talking about, to an extent, even if they're in pain, they won't tell you.
Exactly.
And at some point, I always tend to feel or think that once you're used to pain as your defense mechanism, or rather your way of living, when you're not in pain, you look for this pain. Why do we have such people who are like, I'm not in pain, I'm okay. But when you're okay, it's not normal or it's not okay for you to be okay. So you're always looking for something to inflict pain in you. You see how we having patients with depression, mental issues, and they're like cutting themselves because they want to feel the pain. Now, this person or this, especially men, I've realized it's different. Or rather also through conversation and also research, that them that are so used to this pain, they look for the pain in itself. You see how ladies are, for most ladies are drama queens, and life is so normal and they're like, life is boring without some few dramas, let me...
Just cause havoc, just to feel alive. Okay.
Let me spice it up.
The situations you're describing are actually disorders that occur due to the numbness of feeling. When somebody gets too much used to pain and heartache and heartbreak, they become so accustomed to it that they adopt it as their norm, so to speak. And when they take it as the norm, any form of stability or otherwise then destabilizes them. It's like a situation where you find, probably, let's take an example of a girl who falls in love and is heartbroken, the first love, falls in love again in another relationship and is heartbroken, goes through divorce and loss. And then a man who finds this wounded lady has a lot of groundwork to do in terms of helping her, first of all, normalize peace, normalize lack of violence, normalize having stable, healthy conversations instead of arguments, normalize speaking quietly as opposed to shouting and screaming, normalize using polite language, normalize apology. So to them, they've never had somebody say, I'm sorry when they wronged them, because people hurt them and people walked all over them. So they're used to people doing that. So if they find a man who's gentle and kind and is polite and is quick to say, I'm sorry, they're like, are you normal? Are you okay? In fact, now the man looks abnormal.
That's a red flag.
Yes. Why is he so nice? Why is he so, what is he hiding? All right? So it's the numbness that comes with being used to pain. And again, that is now the danger of raising a boy, letting him or teaching him to suppress his pain. Because later on, when he has now to deal with his pain, one day, all his pain, all his anguish will come flooding back through a trigger. And that's when now he loses it and becomes either violent, murders someone, commits suicide. So all these cases we see in the news of men losing it. It did not start with the episode, the incident that has just happened with his wife cheating or him losing his job. It is something that has been accumulated over a period of years from boyhood. And so he's reliving all these traumas, and now he can't hold it together anymore. So he loses it. So what we're trying to discuss today is how then do we help this man not get to that point where he actually loses it?
Before we even get there, because that is where actually the juice is, right?
Yes. Yeah.
We have people in our society, more so men, and I'm also seeing women coming out strongly, especially in the field of services.
Yeah.
Let's say security people, let's say waitress, service crew. A lot of people in the service industry, even the touts, because they are serving.
Yeah.
A lot of people in the serving industry tend to have a lot of, harbored a lot of bitterness inside their hearts. And when they're serving their clients, or rather interacting with their clients, they tend, it's like something, you say something, it triggers them.
Yes.
More so for the security person, if they see you're not listening to them, they feel like you're diminishing them, you're looking less into them, so it triggers them, so they start acting. The same goes to the touts. The same goes to, just name it, most of the people in the service industry. What is this that happens that makes them like always be in that mood of anger, and very easy to be frustrated, in the sense of you can say something without meaning it, because after all, they don't know you.
Yeah.
I just said something, and it triggers a lot of wordings that will come from you. The next thing will come, it's abuse. And I would be the person who is also not very good. You just start, I continue. Now it becomes something
Escalates.
very, yes.
Yeah. That's a very good observation. Most people actually, and especially men, are going through a lot. Like I said, most men have harbored pain since boyhood, since childhood.
Okay.
Probably growing up, this man, this security guy that you're talking about, you're meeting at the gate, you could imagine that probably he's just having a bad day. But probably in his boyhood, in his childhood, he's been brought up feeling inadequate, being told he's not man enough. Probably the parents, while bringing him up, told him he was good for nothing. That's why he could not do well in school. He's useless. So he's growing through this pain, and then he gets a job, and where he's probably mistreated by the boss, looked down upon by the people who work in that institution or organization. He's the lower rank, or the lowest rank probably in the organization, and everybody looks down upon him. And then you come in and you want to bypass him like he doesn't exist, because you're in a hurry to attend a meeting, all right? So he will ventilate on you. He will use you as a venting point for his frustration, because he feels, why is everybody treating me like this? You don't even know me, you don't know what I'm going through, and you want to look at me as useless. You think my job is not important. You think I'm not man enough, that I can't control you. Probably he's even had a rough day, a rough morning with the wife at home, who was told him you're useless. While other men were studying, getting better jobs, this is what you could get.
There is something I
Right?
don't understand, especially now that you've mentioned it. Maybe it's something we can be able to discuss it
Yeah.
lightly. When, I'm sorry, ladies, allow me to put this out so that we also get to hear your feedback on the same.
Yeah.
So, in this scenario of what you've just mentioned, maybe they had an argument with their wife in the morning and they're saying, what were you doing when the other men were learning? What were you doing? So my question is, what were you as a woman doing to end up in this house? What were you not saying?
I like that plot twist.
Because it doesn't make sense. No one forced you. You're not here at a gunpoint for you to stay in this house. You came in voluntarily. And you knew the circumstances to which you're bringing yourself into. So why should you rent out to this, your partner, simply because he's lacking and there are some things that are not working out? It's okay. We can be having some bad days a day or two and we should be able to work it out.
Yeah.
But by the end of the day, because I have chosen you as my partner, why should that be a sense of like conversation actually coming from your partner simply because you were not doing well? I knew you were not doing well when I was coming to you. Even the same goes to the boy or to the man.
Yeah.
You knew I'm not well educated
Yeah.
when you decided to marry me. So why should you bring it up after we are married? To me, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, unfortunately, most people make decisions, then they regret. It is said that familiarity breeds contempt. When you've been with someone long enough, then you get familiar with them, get familiar with their weaknesses, get familiar with their past, which is not so pleasant. You get familiar with their failures or inadequacies. Probably they become vulnerable to you and open up to you in ways they've never opened up to anyone. And unfortunately, especially for most women who are dealing with men who have gone through trauma, do not know how to create a safe space for the man to actually be the man that they want him to be. They actually think by demeaning him, by mocking him, by ridiculing him, that they will force him into manhood, into masculinity. They'll force him to man up. By comparing him to other men, then he will want to be like other men.
But that is breaking the man even more.
Exactly. So it works, actually, it's counterproductive. If you want a king out of your man, then treat him as one, though he might not be at the moment.
He is, as long as he's your husband.
True. So unfortunately, most women don't see it that way. Most of them will look at him as a failure, even as a man, and want to shed more light on his failures and where he goes wrong, other than look at what has he really done to be what he is today. At least he has a job. He might not be doing what you would have loved your husband to do, but at least he goes out of his way to provide, and that is what you need to be looking at. Thank you for being a provider. Thank you for going out of your way to work things out, to make life better for me and the children. If a man hears that, trust me, he'll want to be better. He want to do more. But if you mock his job, mock his status, you ridicule him, compare him to other men who are doing better than him, that is the recipe for disaster. Because one day he'll wake up and tell you, then go marry those other men.
Question again.
Yes.
In this glass, I have water.
Yeah.
So there is no way I'm going to take this glass of water, expecting it to be mango juice.
Sure.
Or coffee or tea. Why? Because it's water filled here. So I tend to think, correct me if I'm wrong, or also give us more insight on the same, that a woman or a man who is, you say a lot of familiarity brings contempt. But once you have already familiarized with it, that is what you served yourself to begin with. So you getting familiar, it's getting familiar with the taste, getting familiar with, this is what I drove myself into, one, unless you have a way out. And then for those who like venting out, I tend to think, especially if it is, we are looking mostly because of those who vent out loudly are women, it's because that is the only thing you've been taught. Maybe that is how you were brought up. Maybe that is what you've been seeing, like shouting and making names and yelling. That is what you know.
Yeah.
do you think that also women and also men who do that need to go and learn and relearn how to be able to create the safe space as you are talking about? Because again, if I don't know how to provide a safe space, there is no way I'm going to give a safe space. And if I also don't know how to sip in all the information that I'll be receiving, then by the end of the day, I won't be able even to help you, even to help myself.
Yeah.
So how do we go about such a thing?
You're bringing about a very important point of how do we create the safe space that I'm talking about, especially as women in the lives of men who are going through grief and through loss and pain. It is important for you to actually learn. It's not something that comes naturally to a woman. In as much as we say women by nature are nurturers, they take care, they protect, they help things flourish and become better and grow. That's how they are designed to be. They're incubators of greatness, or actually just incubators. Let me just say incubators, because a woman incubates whatever is served to her in terms of if she is given love and kindness, that is what she nurtures and grows and multiplies. If she's given hatred and pain and grief, that is what she multiplies. And so she's an incubator. So first of all, for women, it's important, number one, to learn to validate the feelings of men. If a man says, I'm not okay, don't be quick as a woman to dismiss that statement and say, you'll be fine, you're a man, you can get through anything. Nini na stress? What's stressing you?
So maybe because I'm trusting in you so much and I'm like, yo, you can make it.
Yes, there is that you trust in him to make it. But before you get to that point where you are affirming his ability to go through it, start by validating and accepting that he is not okay. He's in pain. He needs probably space. He needs to cry. He needs his space generally to synthesize the pain or the grief he's going through. Don't be quick to dismiss it, like because you're a man, then you don't need to stay there feeling all sorry for yourself. Stand up, and get a life, all right? So most women will want to dismiss the feelings of men who don't look okay and are not acting okay. So number one, women need to learn to validate the feelings of men. Learn to sit and listen to him. And if he says he's not okay, pause and let him continue. Don't cut him short. Don't dismiss that statement. Don't dismiss his feelings. If you know he has gone through pain and is trying to process it, just being there for him. That is number one, creating a safe space for him. Being there when he needs you to be there. Probably he doesn't need you to say anything. And most times we actually, as men, don't want you to say anything. Just like women, sometimes when you need affirmation, you don't really ask for affirmation. You just act up so that you're affirmed. Now, for a man, it's different. we are different because sometimes when we need you to be there, we might not tell you, come and be here. Like, I need you now. You have to...
I'm not an angel. If you don't say, come, I need you here, how am I supposed to know?
So this is what a man will do. Let me just throw a scenario. A man who needs your company will just invite you for a movie. And you come, let's watch a movie together.
I don't feel like watching a movie. Just say it out. Straight to the point.
No, what I'm trying to bring out here is the neurological differences and psychological differences between men and women.
Okay.
Women would be very quick to express their emotion and say, I'm not okay, I don't even want to watch a movie, I don't want anything. That's what a woman will say, all right? And throw glasses and she'll be expressive. A man, on the other hand, will express his need for companionship, his need for solace in different ways. He'll invite you for a movie, and he doesn't want you to narrate the movie to him. He just wants to be there and keep quiet and enjoy the movie, even if you don't like such movies. All right? Just be there and ask him, is there anything? Can I bring you? If you don't like the movie, can I make popcorns? Like, be there. Being there means let him watch the movie in silence. Let him watch his soccer in silence. Don't interrupt and start asking, which player is with this one? Who is scoring where? Just let him be. But you are there. You are there if he needs a glass of water. You are there if he needs his popcorns. That is being there for him, all right? So you're creating a safe space for him to just feel, number one, I'm not alone in this. There's somebody. And you'll be surprised at what a man says, especially men who have been married 20, 30 years down the line. And they'll tell you, this woman here has been there for me. And the woman sometimes is surprised because she thinks, what did I do? I've just been myself, I've just been here. But that being there is very important because you're creating a space for him not to feel alone. And sometimes also it's important to know when he needs your company as a woman and when he needs his space. Because some men also like grieving in solitude. Because society also has accustomed a man not to cry in public, right? So probably he needs to cry. And he tells you, today I don't have the mental energy, the emotional energy to, or the social energy to be with you. Can I just be alone? Or can I just go to the bedroom?
That makes works very easy. If you say that you are left alone, hata kutakuwa na misunderstanding.
Now, here's the twist. When you tell a woman that as a man, that's not what she hears. Women have the tendency of personalizing what men say, all right? So a man says, I need space. The woman hears, I don't need you, all right? A man says, can you leave me alone today? Let's not meet today. Oh, you have another one? Where are you going today? We had plans to meet today. That's what a woman hears. So
That's a drama queen.
no,
Yo.
it's a typical normal woman.
No.
Typical normal woman.
No. And that one I don't agree. Viewers, for me, I don't agree.
Now,
let us take a break first
Sure.
and come back. That one I say a big no. Whoever is doing that is a drama queen.
Drama
That is
queen,
a
right?
pure drama queen.
Which is 90% of women. Debatable.
Hello?
Let's take the break.
Viewers, we'll be right back. Send in your question, interact with us across all our social media networks. That's GBS TV Africa. Our SMS line is 2114. We'll be back shortly.
Today we're going to make ta-da! A boba tea letter set. We're going to make the letter set. It looks really cute, right? Now we are finished to make.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back, viewer, to Chungu cha Jamii. Today we are talking about how to help men navigate through grief in strength and support. Send in your question, interact with us across all our social media networks. That's GBS TV Africa. Our SMS line is 21144. So, before we went on a break, we were having a discussion of how drama queens are misunderstanding boy child.
Yes.
But to me, I always tend to think, personally, this is me personally, I always say it as it is. I always say it saves you a lot of energy. If you tell me the things as they are. If you need space, just say, hey, I need space. I'll just give you that space. If you need company, just say, I need company. I'll be able to move things around.
Yeah.
But if you talk to me coded, I'm not a machine. Me, I don't understand code language.
So
I don't understand code language.
I'm
please.
glad you're saying,
because even men, you also say you don't understand women because they are talking in codes. They are saying no while they are meaning yes. So what is it? You know, you also have to set the example. I must set the communication
Straight.
rules straight. Just say, me, I'd prefer this. So me, I'll tell you, this is what I prefer.
yeah.
So a lot of times, even in the workplace, just say it as it. This is something that I came to learn, and I always appreciate it. Whoever taught me that, I always appreciate, because once I got to understand this as a concept, makes my work easier.
Yeah.
I don't have to, even in the workspace, if I want this done, I just have to tell you, so James, I need you to come by 11, we are having a show. It's not a debate. So you're either in or out. So you'll be like, at this time, I'm committed, I'm not coming. If you're coming, you'll say, I'll come.
Yeah.
So I'm not expecting you to come in at 12. Our time schedule was?
11. Sure.
It's as simple as that.
Now, you say it very easily, and I'm sure for women listening to this show and watching this show, they're thinking, yeah, why do you have to complicate it? Just say it. Just say it. But let me tell you something. I was telling you there's a neurological and psychological difference between men and women. Women are complicated. They are complex. You have to like unwind them like yarn, okay, to get the end from the beginning. For men, we are very simplistic, even in our communication. So when a man says, I need space, that's simply what he's saying. He's not saying, now this is what I was telling you how women hear it. So I say, I need space. And you hear, I don't want you. I'm rethinking this relationship. Yet I'm not even talking about the relationship. I'm just saying I need space. I'm going through stuff, and I feel right now I might not be in the best emotional state to handle you and be kind to you and be nice to you. Because if you come and invade me in this space that I'm asking for, then I'll not be the best version of me. So I just need space. So it's important for women to realize that when a man says or asks for space, please do give it to him. It's important for women to realize that men have unique and different grieving processes than women. Women might want you to be there physically, might want lots of hugs and lots of affirmations. A man might want space. A man might want silence. He just wants his space. He just wants to do his work. If he's into coding, that's when he'll code the most complex stuff. If he's into whatever he's into soccer, he'll go play and overwork. So let him do that. And when you do check on him, because again, the temptation for women here is to want to check on him. Oh, he said he's not fine. So you want to be calling. You text in the morning, 30 minutes later you've called, are you okay? Are you fine? No, let the man be. If he said he needs space, say, I'll give you the space you need. Let me know what else I can do to help you get through this. And leave it at that. Okay. And then when you do check on him, please do check on him while respecting the fact that he needs to grieve in peace, in silence. So don't nag, because some men again become very naggy. When a man is going through stuff, the last thing he wants is to be asked whether he's okay 100 times in a day. If I said I'm not okay, just know that I'm not okay. If I'm saying I'm in pain, I'm in pain. So if I said I want some silence, please let there be silence. So let every man, because men are different. There's no one single way in which I'll say this is how men grieve, But whatever the style your man seeks to handle his pain and grief, please allow him to do that and be there in a way that will make sense to him, that you are there. So you validated his feelings, you are giving him the space and the conducive environment to talk when he needs to. And the other thing is, don't be quick to provide solutions. Men are the fixers. Men are the problem solvers. And that's why sometimes we piss off women. Because sometimes as a woman, you just want to be heard, to be listened to. You just want to vent. And all you want from a man is to say, it's fine, I hear you. I'm sorry that you went through that. But when a man now starts fixing, because the temptation for a man is usually to start fixing. You say this is, and we are thinking of X is equal to this, we have a solution, we have an answer. Why don't you do this? We have ways to fix it. Now for a man, because he is accustomed and he is naturally meant to fix stuff, even in grief, he still thinks he's Mr. Fix-It. So he can handle it, he can go through it, and he will fix it, and he'll get things right eventually. So do not make him feel inadequate by trying to fix. You can offer advice, offer counsel, and most times, and most importantly, especially if you're the woman in the man's life, please support him to get external help if you're not in a capacity to do it. Because sometimes as a woman, you have a bias. You already know what this man has been through or what he's going through, and so you have a bias of what you think needs to be done for him to get over this. But if you support him in terms of maybe advising him to seek external support, to seek psychosocial support, go for counseling, go to talk to other men, or join a self-help group or a support group of men in similar circumstances, because I feel most times this is what is lacking for the men. Women have their chamas where they can go, in as much as they're talking money will be 10% of the conversation. Once everybody has contributed what they have to contribute, they'll talk for hours later, but they'll talk about a myriad of things. Men don't have spaces to ventilate and talk. So it's important for men also to join groups, because I know of churches that have groups for widowers, okay, groups for widows. So it's for a man, it's important to join other men and just get to hear other people's experiences, and to share your own experiences in a safe space where you're not judged, where you don't feel different, and you don't feel inadequate.
Or rather, just create your own group.
Create your own group. As a
Yeah,
solo,
boys group.
a boys group, yes.
So
Yeah,
that
it's
by
good.
the end of the day, you have people that you think you trust, or you know you trust, people who are not going to judge you, as opposed to telling me to go join a group that I'm not even familiar with people there. Now that one brings me back to square zero. First, getting familiar with people around this group.
But sometimes, again, psychologically, now thinking, sometimes it's easier to open up to a stranger than it is to open up to somebody who's familiar to you. Somebody familiar to you, for example, a man who's going through divorce, and he has this group of friends who have known him through his rocky marriage. Probably they were even against the woman he married in the first place. They're telling him, this is not a good woman for you, right? Then these are the men you want to go cry to and tell him, my wife has done this to me, she cheated on me. No, you don't want to do that. So that's why sometimes the help group becomes a safer environment, knowing that none of you guys know me, but I'm here to talk, and I'm glad that you're here to listen. And everybody feels the same way. So it's a shared pain. All right?
That is ego.
It's not really. It's like the groups for helping people recover from alcoholism. We have groups like Alcoholic Anonymous, where you just go meet as alcoholics who are recovering, and you share your experiences and what alcohol has done to you, your family, what you suffered, and you go away feeling relieved, because all you wanted was a safe space to say what you're going through and what you're feeling without being judged. And there's no better environment to be free than an environment where you feel and know that even the other person is probably going through the same thing or even worse than mine. That's a safe space to talk, than talking to people who feel holier than thou, better than you, so they might not even really understand what you're going through. And sometimes when people share their pain, and especially men, we tend to think we know what they're going through. We know what's aching them, and we know the solution to their problem. But sometimes all we want is a safe space where we are not judged, we are not ridiculed, we are not mocked, and everybody just accepts us for who we are, and we don't lose our masculinity because we've shared it. Because again, for most women, as we talk about men being vulnerable, for most women, they also grow with this wrong mentality and fallacy that a man never cries. And so even when a man cries in their presence, they really don't know how to handle that. They're wondering, now what do I do? Do I cry with you? Do I hold you? Do I hug you? What do you want? So most women are not emotionally and psychologically prepared to handle a man in pain and a man who's grieving. They are not.
No, let
And that's
me
why I'm
ask you as a
saying
life coach.
sometimes it's better to help him. The only way to help him is to advise him or lead him to a person, a community
life
where he'll
coach.
find help.
As a life coach,
Yes.
right? Let's address James as a life coach.
Yes.
When you're dealing with men going through grief and they come to you and they start crying, what do you do?
There's something we normally say, which is borrowed from the Bible in our groups for men, and for men mentorship and boy-child mentorship, that iron sharpens iron, that it takes a man to make a man, all right? So a man is safer crying among fellow men, all right, than crying maybe to his mother or his wife. Because the wife, the daughter, the aunts, all the women in the life of these men look up to the man as the strong pillar of the family.
And up to
And
that
so,
point,
let me finish. When this pillar looks broken and shattered, that causes a lot of fear and anxiety among the women in his life. His mother, his wife, his sisters, anybody related to him, even the children, feel like now we are done. If this is dad crying, I don't know what mom will do. I don't know what we can do. All right? So sometimes it's safer for the man to find a safe space to ventilate, to cry, to get help, emotional support, so that when he comes back, he's in a better state of mind to continue leading his family, leading the women in his life, the mother, the children, and so on and so forth.
you still haven't answered my question.
Which is?
We are addressing James.
Yes.
So when a man comes to you and they start crying,
I allow them to. I
you
allow
just
them
sit
to.
there
Yeah.
and watch them cry?
Because, you see, what he needed was a space to do that. Okay? His house, his wife cannot provide that space. His mother won't provide that space for him. So if he's in my office and all he wanted was to talk to a fellow brother and tell him, man, things are thick. I don't know how to handle this. I'm like, I'm right here with you, brother. How can I help you? And if he wants to ventilate by crying, that's a safe space for him. Because whatever happens in that room ends in that room after that. And then he can walk out feeling like the man he is or the king he is, as opposed to trying to fix or help him not to cry. Tell him to. In fact, in counseling, the worst thing you can do is to stop somebody from crying. Anybody.
No, we are not saying you stop someone from crying.
Yes.
But I'm just looking at it from that notion. When you say, it's true, a lot of women don't know how to deal with a man when a man is crying.
Yes.
Very few. And the few are the psychologists.
The psychologists, and even the psychologists now, as wives, you see, in counseling, you cannot counsel your husband or your son. So even for them, it's difficult to handle the men in their life when the men in their life are going through difficult times.
I think I prefer when you talk instead of crying. It makes things easier. And if you want to cry, just say, I just need some space to cry, you know.
But you see, psychologically, there's power in crying. There's healing in crying.
True.
So crying is a healthy way to ventilate, as opposed to bottling up all this feeling, looking all tight and smiley and all made up, and you're feeling broken inside. Sometimes just break down, let it out. Because after the crying, there is relief, which if the crying did not happen, and I've seen men also who lose their loved ones, and you've seen men who even lose their wife, and during the burial, during the ceremony, they don't shed a tear. They're strong, they're organizing things, they are running the planning committee, They're strong for the children, strong for everybody else. But this man also needs to weep. This man needs to cry. And he feels this is not the time or the place to do this. So when that man finally breaks down, he really breaks down. And he needs a safe space to do that. Because during the planning and running of the funeral, he needs to do this. Because he needs to fix things. He needs to put things in order. He needs to feel in control. He needs to feel the man. So let him. But at the end of the day, this man needs help. And the men around him need to be cognizant of that fact, that this guy, in as much as he's strong and we're here for him, the grieving will start eventually. Right now, he might be in denial, and that's what happens. We talked about the stages. Maybe this can't be happening. He seems like he's organizing a funeral for somebody else who's not a relative and not really his wife or his daughter or his child. All right? It's all dreamy during all that time. It's like in a dream. Then reality will hit eventually. When it hits, he needs a safe space to actually grieve and cry if he needs to.
We have incidences. When you're talking about this, I just remembered once upon a time, I had come across someone who was going through grief, and his way of grieving was taking alcohol. But he was doing it too much. He never used to drink before. But now because life happened, now he starts drinking. And he's drinking to an extent, he's not even taking care of his hygiene. He's not taking care of himself. And now loses someone close to him, and now it becomes even more worse. How do you, how do men, or rather, how do you now move from the grief so that you don't wallow in alcohol and end up losing yourself simply because you're grieving? Because that is the excuse, or rather the scapegoat that you'll use. It's because I lost so and so, and I'm taking to forget. And in the real sense, you're not going to forget per se. You'll only forget at that time that you feel or you think you're high. But after the alcohol is done and over with in your body, you come back to your senses and you realize, after all, this person is not coming. I won't be with him. If there is changes, the changes are there and it is permanent. How now do you help a person not to be able to go to those extremes? Because no sooner has he started, then we are also going to lose this person.
Yes.
So how do you help now this man to be able to like collect himself together so that they don't go to that extreme?
Yeah, what you're describing is the fourth stage of grieving, which is depression. And in the last show, I said this is the make or break. This is when we either lose the man or lose the people around the man who is going through grief and loss. We either lose him or lose somebody in his life. This is when the man will either commit suicide. This is when the man will commit murder or homicide because of the pain he's going through. So what I've been describing was how do we help him now move from this space, or even prevent or avoid him getting to that deep depression. Number one, I've said let's create a safe space for him. Number two, let's encourage healthy ways of coping. Because when people are in depression, they cope in different ways. What you're describing, the lack of care for self-hygiene, getting into alcoholism and drugs. Others become workaholics. They just want to work and they won't get out of the office. They're the first in the office and the last to leave the office. They actually have to be kicked out by the security guard to go home. All right? So these are all negative ways of coping with grief. So it's important for men, first of all, to develop healthy ways of coping with grief. Once you know that I'm actually in a bad state emotionally, number one, seek connection. Seek healthy connections. Be with fellow men. Be around fellow men who are healthy and stable. Because again, you can be around fellow men who are as broken as you are, and they're not using healthy ways to cope. They're drinking, they're at the pub. So if you join them at the pub, then you become like them and you sink deeper into depression. So seek healthy men in terms of They are stable emotionally, they are stable mentally, and they understand what you're going through and are willing to stand with you. So have your own gang of gentlemen who can walk with you. And that's why it's important for a man not to walk alone in his life as a man. Especially a man past the age of, the danger, and I think I must point this out because it adds to what we are talking about when men grieve. Men, as they grow and as they mature, it actually becomes more difficult for them to maintain friendships and to make new friendships. This because when boys are growing, boys are all together, they grow in the same estate, go to the same primary school, they play together, they do mischievous things together. And there's that sense of boyhood and togetherness. Then they go to high school. Again, there's a gang and there's a clique and you form associations there. But when a man goes to campus and now beyond, and now you're meeting this man at 30, his circle of friends has grown thinner. The people he knows are the people who either are working with him, are colleagues, or are neighbors, or are in the same church, or so on. So the people, the immediate people around him. And even for them, he will find it very difficult to start connecting and making new friendships. So it's important for a man to form or to join a community, whether it's a cell group or a group in church, the Catholic call it jumuiya, but a fellowship. Have some kind of fellowship, whether it's church related or not, but have a gang of, Jeff Koinange was at some point calling it the boys club. Have fellow boys that you help each other through stuff. The good times and the bad times, you are together. People you can count on to be there for you, to call you out when you're wrong, and also to grieve with you when you're going through difficult times and to be a support system. So it's important for a man to do that. Number two, engage in activities that will help you to vent. Because what you want when you're going through depression is actually relief. And that's why some people body harm or harm themselves by cutting themselves. Some will feel like committing suicide. Some will just be injurious, driving carelessly because they don't care if they ram into a lorry. They just drive carelessly. They feel like this life is useless. So avoid any reckless. And that reminds me, we've just come from the Safari Rally. And some people who are going towards the Safari Rally might actually have been through grief, or men going through difficult times. And you see them acting up and acting weird, and you're thinking, is he normal? Probably he's not. He's not okay. And so he's just finding ways to ventilate and to let him express himself. So to avoid them getting into those dangerous zones of expressing themselves, let them get activities that are healthy. Let them go for hikes. Go for long walks, start jogging, join a gym near you. That will help you to get out all the negative energy that you have. Because if you don't spend that negative energy, you'll spend it in a negative way. Either harm someone or harm yourself. So it's important for men to learn to find healthy ways of coping with pain and with grief, as opposed to drinking and getting into drugs and such things. Yes.
You just mentioned the trip to Uvasha and how I most of the time don't get to understand how men find entertainment in such things, in football, in race cars.
You won't understand. Don't try. You won't understand. But there's fun in, you see, men naturally, a man is competitive by nature. From the time we are boys, we compete. From the most stupid of things, like who can pee the farthest, okay, as boys. Then that tendency to compete. Of men.
They just want to waste adrenaline.
Exactly. Not waste, but spend.
Waste.
We
I'm being
spend.
told you are running out of time, so
Yes.
your parting shot, please.
help the men in your lives to get through pain. Validate their feelings, don't dismiss them. Men suffer too, men cry too, and they need to be let or to be given a safe space to actually grieve and go through their losses and pain. Be a support system to them. Crying, grieving, or going through pain in no way reduces the masculinity of a man. So we need to also demystify that thought or that fallacy as a society, that a man who cries is weak or is less of a man. A man who cries is a man in touch with his emotions and is a stable man. You'd rather be around a man who expresses his emotions in a healthy way than a man who doesn't, because it's only a matter of time before he does, and you won't like it. So it's important to help men go through pain and grief as women, as fellow men, so that we have a healthier, better society. A society with healthy men is a healthy society. Yes.
Society with healthy men is a healthy society. Let's keep this conversation going across all our social media networks. That's GBS TV Africa. Our SMS line is 21114. Next time, have a nice time. Goodbye.
Everywhere.